Twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes shed bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regulate the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And an outstanding rendition of the national anthem here in Seattle as the sun starts to set on our little slice of softball heaven here at Husky Softball Stadium. They're even filling the bleachers here in the outfield. Tends to be a pretty good crowd, and I think they're going to surpass even expectations tonight, Brooke.
Yeah, we've got a good crowd. We've got a crowd filled with lots of parents on both sides. We've got siblings, friends, and I spy a lot of young softballers down the left field line today, Jason.
Yeah, there are a lot of youngsters here, and Wisconsin's head coach, Yvette Healy, you can see the red there. She told us that there were plenty of Badger fans, some parents, friends, family, who wanted to make the trip for this first ever conference series between the Badgers and the Huskies. And speaking of the Huskies, let's look at that Washington defense. The left side of the infield's been a little unstable. Giselle Alvarez was out for a couple of weeks. Washington's been trying to figure out their shortstop, but now there's more stability there.
Absolutely. Jake Blabb's been a rock behind the dish for the Huskies, and joined in the circle with the battery is Sophia Ramuno, transfer from Cal Poly. So she got to face her former team just last week when we had a midweek matchup here in Seattle. But Sophia's going to come at batters hard and early in counts with her velo, so she wants to work ahead early with that rise, curve, screw, change. Primarily, she's going to work up in the zone, so we're going to see a lot of fly balls pop up. So it's going to be key for this Washington defense to take advantage of those foul ball pop-ups.
Yeah, and the numbers for Ramuno have been fantastic in her first season as a Husky. She leads the Big Ten and ranks 4th nationally with a strikeout to walk ratio of 10.1. And she's just been dialed in, 4th in the conference in ERA and 8th in WHIP. So up and down the stat sheet for Ramuno, she's been outstanding.
Yeah, you just look at those numbers, and per 7 innings, she's averaging double-digit strikeouts. So exactly who you want in the circle this Friday evening.
Plans on majoring in biology here at UW and hopes to dissect this Wisconsin order on this Friday night.
You're going to see pretty impressive command out of Ramuno tonight. So her ability to hone in on both sides of the plate.
Olivia Bark digs in, and the first pitch is called for a strike. Bark, a sophomore from Bettendorf, Iowa, who started every game at first base for the Badgers. And she's behind 0-2.
Yeah, here you've got a pitcher who loves to strike people out, and you've got a batter that is a tough hitter to strike out, only striking out 6.3% of the time.
Ramuno's 0-2. Spoils that one outside. Ramuno, a junior from San Diego, California. Gets Bark to saw off another.
Sun setting beautifully here in Seattle with the 6:04 right now, so that left side of the infield is going to have a little bit of a sun factor. We see maybe some shades on Ava Carroll over there in left.
Swing and a miss First strikeout of the night for Ramuno. So she picks up right where she left off, adding to the cake home.
Yeah, just a nice job of getting ahead early and then using that rise as a chase pitch.
Now she gets Molly Schlosser. Fouled away. Ramuno attacking the zone early.
Attacking the zone and not afraid to come inside to left-handed hitters. A lot of time you'll see left-handed hitters getting majority of their pitches outside because right-handed pitchers don't necessarily want to come across that throwing lane inside.
Schlosser pops up the bunt attempt, foul, and it's 0-2. Schlosser, a senior from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, just west of Milwaukee, putting up the best stat line of her career, leading the team in doubles, stolen bases, and runs scored. 0-2, lifted behind home plate, and that one will be a souvenir.
Pretty cool story and just journey for Schlosser as her career has went on. She was a recruited walk-on to start and kind of ran with it and worked hard and just put her head down and ran with it. And now look at her having the senior campaign and becoming a scholarship player ultimately.
Yeah, and someone who said playing at Wisconsin was always a dream for her. Of course, growing up in the Milwaukee suburbs, said that Madison instantly felt like home the moment she stepped on campus. And she's been great on the field and in the classroom, a two-time academic All-Big Ten honoree. Count still no balls, 2 strikes. Off speed, got Schlosser looking. Back-to-back Ks to start the night for Ramuno.
Nice sequence out of Ramuno, working early hard in on the hands, kind of expanding the zone up with that rise ball, and at the end there getting the changeup looking. Just freezes you.
93 Ks on the season for the junior, and she starts Hillary Blomberg with an off-speed pitch. Doing a nice job of changing speeds.
Blomberg, another Badger that is a tough one to strike out.
Everybody clap your hands.
She's only been fanned 7 times this entire season, and 107 at-bats. Ramuno's got ahead 0-2 3 straight times. Trying to make it 3 straight Ks. Deep drive down the left field line, twisting into the corner, but foul. Well, we know the ball could sail tonight. We got some warmer temperatures. The wind isn't blowing in as it often does here at Husky Softball Stadium. It's a really calm evening, and we could see some long balls.
Blomberg, just a sophomore, but no stranger to that long ball.
But she swings over the heater from Ramuno. The righty strikes out the side in the top of the first, and the Huskies will get their first ups after a quick break. Ramuno dialed in the top of the first.
We split half an inning with hours to go to Badgers coming, and the Huskies coming up.
Wisconsin takes to the field for the first time tonight, and here's how they'll line up defensively. What stands out to you most in this defensive alignment, Brooke?
I think just Sallow in the circle, being that grad student and being the hardest thrower on staff for the Badgers, Head coach Healy is most excited when Gabby can throw both sides of the plate with 2 heights. So today we're going to see a lot of change out of her, not afraid to go back to back, throw it ahead in the count, behind. So I think that's really when you see pitchers succeed, when they're able to throw that change up at any count. So she's going to work with that change, curve, backdoor curve, and drop on both sides. So with that drop, Jason, we're going to see probably a lot of ground balls. Where on the other side of the ball, we're seeing a lot of rise up in the air, but off of Sallow, a lot of ground balls today.
There should be an interesting contrast in the circle between the 2 starters. Sallow, a graduate student from Escanaba, Michigan in the Upper Peninsula, another Badger who has really earned the role that she has now. Tossed just 16 innings during her freshman and sophomore seasons. Worked really hard, though, got a much bigger role her junior campaign, and now she's having her best season yet in her graduate campaign. Ava Carroll leads things off for the Huskies.
Talk about having your best season yet. I mean, we're looking at Carroll digging into the box right here, a NWAC transfer, just having quite the transfer campaign and making a name for herself.
And she quickly has a hitter's count at 2-0. And the improvement we've seen from Carroll over the course of the season. Started the year typically batting in the 8 and 9 spots, but she has worked her way up to batting the 2 hole, sometimes even taking the leadoff spot like she has today.
I think a lot of that goes to show just her versatility, that she can get it done and she can find a way on base in multiple fashions, being that triple threat. She can slap, she can bunt, she can hit, but not only hit, she can hit to all fields.
Sallow gets one over, 3 balls and a strike. That one's off the end of the bat. Full count now.
Talking to head coach Heather Tarr earlier this week, she just raved about Ava Carroll's ability to just be a competitor, being in the front of the dugout. She has her routines, her process, her breath that we're seeing as she steps into the box. So just her ability to continue to compete regardless of what level she's at.
Off-speed pitch, she saws it to the left side. Hubbard backhands in the hole, but she'll have no play. Carroll's aboard to start the bottom of the first.
Looks like she had it, and looks like that right foot as she was going to plant and make that throw, looks like it just kind of slid out from under her. So not sure if that's a turfus or maybe a little bit of wet fielding here today, but nonetheless, loving that fired up if you're a Husky.
And that is ruled an infield single for Carroll, so the Huskies have their first hit of the ball game. Now here's the always dangerous Alexis DeBoer. The freshman from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, ranks 4th in the Big Ten in home runs with 14 of them. She's also 5th in the conference in RBI and 8th in slugging percentage. Half swing there, 1-1. Heather Tarr giving Alexis DeBoer a lot of credit for how coachable she's been here as a first year. Said she has an elite softball mind, can immediately execute the guidance she gets from the coaching staff. Like that upstairs heater, swings through it, 1-2.
And that's huge being a freshman. You come in your freshman year and everything you're experiencing is new and you're learning so much. So her ability to learn on the fly and really take it and run with it is so advantageous to the freshman campaign she's having this year.
That one's off the glove of Wells into the backstop. So Carroll will trot down to second base. Huskies trying to draw first blood here against the Badgers. Runner in scoring position off the wild pitch. And now the 2-2. Off speed in the dirt. Carroll hangs tight.
Everybody
DeBoer, a
clap your
hitter in this
hands.
lineup that does a pretty good job with runners in scoring position, hitting just .447, Jason. So something that she's no stranger to with Ava Carroll over on second.
43 RBI this season in 35 games. And she draws a walk. These teams issue the fewest walks in the Big Ten. Both pitchers starting in the circle today are able to pitch with precision, but you have to be so particular with DeBoer that Salo thought, all right, I'm just not going to give her anything she can do too much damage with.
Yeah, a hitter that you don't want to leave a pitch over the plate too much because you might not find that ball after.
So we get a conference in the circle here as Mike Roberts comes out, the associate head coach and pitching coach for Wisconsin, who's actually very familiar with these grounds, having served as the pitching coach in Washington from 2015 to 2017. Helped the Huskies notch 3 straight 40-win seasons and assisted the Dogs on a run to the semifinals of the Women's College World Series back in 2017.
The catcher, number 4, Jaden Glab.
So 2 on, nobody out, and Jaden Glab, the catcher, digs in. Glab squares the bunt, pulls back, takes ball 1.
We've seen a lot of success with this Washington offense when they're able to get runners on early. So they're able to get that leadoff on with Carroll and immediately after with Alexis DeBoer. So putting Jaden Glab in a really good position here.
1-0 offering, sails off the plate.
And another hitter for this Washington offense where you need to make sure as a pitcher you're doing a good job of painting those corners because anything left over the plate could leave some room for some damage.
Glab with 10 home runs this season, 18 total extra base hits. Takes a healthy cut at that one, 2-1. Salo second in the Big Ten in walks allowed per 7 innings. She's not going to give up many of those free passes. Her 2-1. Misses again, 3 balls and a strike.
Washington thus far doing a good job of taking hacks at pitches in the zone, and I'm liking their eye up in the plate of, okay, Salo's looking to expand the zone here, but I'm being stubborn to my plan.
Glab takes that one on the low and inside corner, and the count runs full. The right-handed graduate student locks back in. Needing a strike here, the bases will be loaded. Sawed off, back to Salo, and she brings in the little pop fly, 1 down.
Nice job by Salo there, just getting it up and in on her hands, trusting her spin and forcing Jaden Glab into her defense.
Batting forward, the right fielder, number
Huge out for
27.
Salo as she tries to escape this first inning unscathed. But she's still got the heart of the Husky order in front of her. Here's Alicia Flores. The 6th year takes the first pitch for a strike.
Last time Flores dug into the box here at Husky Softball Stadium against Cal Poly, she was the team's home run hitter. So a unique ability to be able to square up pitches pretty high in the zone.
Breaking pitch misses, 1-1. Flores has been strong in conference play, batting .421 and slugging .632 with a double and a homer. Went 4 for 8 during the Huskies' trip out to the land of Lincoln last week. She drills that one toward the wall in right field. Carroll's around third and she'll score. DeBoer slams on the brakes at third. Flores drives in a run with a double to the gap in right, and the Huskies draw first blood. Huskies have been taking a lot of big cuts, and finally they got one on the barrel. It's Flores who delivers with the extra base hit. And now some extended discussion between our three umpires after the play.
I'm curious what they're reviewing here.
The previous play is under video review.
I'm curious too.
It was an outside pitch, so she had to stay over it. So I guess the first thing that pops into my mind is, did she step over the chalk line into the river? I guess a possibility for runner left early maybe, but
Neither runner was attempting to steal on that pitch, correct?
correct. I'll be curious what the call is and what they are reviewing. Let's see.
Carroll at second did get a pretty big lead right away. And that could negate a huge play for the Huskies here in the first if she left off the base early.
Now, based on that angle, it looked like Flores was just fine in the box. Both her feet stayed in between the lines.
Yeah, based on that angle, it looked like Carroll left early. You couldn't see her foot, but I feel pretty certain that's what they're looking at right now. As you diagnose, Flores looked clean in the box.
Yeah, for them to be able to overturn this and call Carroll leaving early, there's going to have to be undisputable evidence. Even the smallest shadow of a doubt would leave the play as stands.
There you see Heather Tarr chatting with her freshman sensation Alexis DeVore. One Husky legend talking to potential future Husky legend. Tarr in her 21st season as the head coach at Washington, the winningest coach of any sport in UW history, and Alexis DeVore, the number 11 recruit in the nation, who is almost in the top 10 in the country in home runs. She's hanging right around in that leaderboard, even in her first collegiate season. It's so close there, Brooke.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. You'd almost need it slowed down frame by frame to be able to see. Here we go.
And that is a monumental change for the Huskies. Carroll left early at second base. So that will negate the run scored by the Huskies. DeBoer will go all the way back to first base. Flores will return to the box. And now there are two down in the first. And both of us have to totally scratch everything out of our scorebook.
I can erase it with my pencil, Jason, but
I only brought a pen.
you're in trouble with your pen.
Ball and a strike for Flores now. Riser upstairs. 2-1. So a tough one to swallow for the Huskies. But the threat isn't over just yet. Solo's 2-1. Off the end of the bat. Count even.
And there we see that changeup that we talked about earlier. Salo's ability and just confidence in that pitch. That's a pitch that this year she's really honed in with pitching coach Mike Roberts on. Building more confidence in that and the ability to throw it in pressure counts like we saw just there to Flores.
And she's got lots of options, but that tends to be her pressure situation pitch. And she goes downstairs with the off speed to finish off Flores. A phenomenal bounce back from Salo. After giving up the leadoff single and then a walk, she gets out of the inning unscathed, striking out Flores. After one, we're scoreless in Seattle.
We are scoreless. gohuskies.com/SBStats. That's gohuskies.com/SBStats. You can also scan any of the QR codes, digital rosters located around Huskies softball stadiums.
Left early at second base, which leaves us scoreless going to the top of the second, and the heart of the Badger order coming up 4, 5, and 6 to face off with Sophia Ramuno.
Yeah, if you're Wisconsin, that's a mistake that you want to capitalize on. You got the momentum in your favor, and so looking to make something happen here in the top of the second.
Slow roller from Kendra Lewis, and a little backhanded flip from Jade Bubke. One pitch, one out in the top of the second.
Good communication there by the right side. DeVore looked like right off the bat she was maybe going to go for the backhand, but then Bubke called her off and gave her the confidence really to go back to the bag. So loving the communication out of that right side.
Ramuno's just pounding the inner half of the zone. Lots of pitches in on the hands of these Badger hitters as Brooke Kuffel comes to the dish.
Yeah, batter after batter, just like you said, doing a good job of getting ahead early.
Kuffel, a senior from Crystal Lake, Illinois, northwest of Chicago. 34 starts this season. Second of the team in RBI with 19 of them. Pretty good clips across the board there. She's really improved those marks. She actually entered the season as a .230 hitter for her career. .420 slugging percentage. Pulls that one down the line foul, 0-2.
Something unique about Ramuno is really her ability to get ahead early allows her out pitches to take over. And so she has multiple out pitches. So she could finish you on the rise, she could finish you on the curve, she could finish you on the change.
Another jam shot. And the board corrals it, 2 down. Ramuno putting Badger in handcuffs. Pitch after pitch. So the junior has retired 5 straight. And now she'll face Danielle Lucy. This one's lifted down the left field line, just barely foul.
Some foul space over there in left field that's been shortened a little bit in the offseason to even out the right field foul side and the left field foul line. So a couple seasons ago, that left field area was more opened up, so allowed some greater chance for some sliding, diving plays.
Some fine tuning to this ballpark, which is a sensational setting for college softball. Nestled right up against Union Bay and Lake Washington. 1-1 pitch. On the inner edge, Ramuno finds that edge of the plate. It's 1-2.
Good command by Ramuno, just working both sides of the plate, regardless of these Badgers hitters, whether they're on, whether they're off.
Lucy gets a piece.
Everybody clap your hands.
Washington knew they were getting a star when Ramuno transferred up from Cal Poly after 2 seasons with the Mustangs, 2-time All-Big West selection. Seeing some of her best stuff so far tonight. 1-2 fouled away. even as a freshman, Ramuna was outstanding. She had a 3.12 ERA in her first collegiate season, and she threw 141 innings. So she was shining bright from the first time she played collegiate ball. That's a laser toward the Husky bullpen.
Definitely a transfer when you see her name in the portal that you're eager to grab.
Heather Tarr has compared her to a hybrid of Daniel Laurie and Taryn Alvello. Pretty high praise. 1-2. Fans can't quite snare it.
Good job by mom over there, protecting son. Looked like he wanted to catch it, but good job, mom. Two babies over there.
Sometimes you don't know what you're getting into at that age, right? Look, it's coming.
You think you can get it, and then you realize how fast it's coming at you.
Muno with the big shrug. She's got her pitch. Let's try another 1-2. There's the finisher. Ramuno delivers 4 Ks in the first 2 innings. She set down 6 straight. And it's a scoreless ball game through 1.5 innings at Husky Softball Stadium.
Change for the Badgers ahead of the bottom of the first, taking over at second base, number 8, Grace O'Brien.
Gabby Salo let the first 2 runners reach in the first inning, but then she rebounded nicely, retiring Jaden Glab. Had a runner leave early and then struck out Alicia Flores to escape unscathed. Now she'll get the 5, 6, and 7 hitters, starting with Giselle Alvarez. This is really a pivotal series here, Brooke. You look at 2 teams that are both in the upper half of the Big Ten standings, but want to cement themselves there, make sure they get solid seeding for the Big Ten tournament, and ultimately a bid to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and entering week 4 of conference, this is really when teams start to solidify and you're seeing a more consistent batting order and you're seeing more of a consistent defensive alignment, and pitchers are falling into more of a groove. So excited to see these 2 teams compete this weekend.
Wisconsin 6-4 in conference play. Washington's 4-2. Salo throws the 1-0. Of course, that gap in games played will be made up later as the Huskies had an early bye week for conference action. Wisconsin will play their final week of the regular season against some non-conference foes. There's a jam shot to the left side, and it drops in. Alvarez tied up, but she turns it into a single, and the Huskies have put the leadoff batter aboard in both of the first 2 innings.
Next up for the Huskies.
That pitch spinning up in the zone, beating Alvarez's barrel, but ultimately just kind of muscling that ball out into the no man's land between left, third, and short.
And here's Charity Seva-Atasi. First pitch high and outside. Fifth year from Auburn, Washington, is a power hitter who can really hit to all fields. And she brings a lot of experience for this youthful bunch of Huskies after playing 4 years at Oregon State. Tries to drop down the bunt, but fouls it away. Now, Wisconsin's supposed to be the sacrifice bunting team here in this series, Brooke, but are you surprised at all that Washington is trying to sacrifice here in the second?
I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I think they're just playing some kind of textbook softball. You get the leadoff runner on with Alvarez. You're looking to move her over to second to then ultimately get her in with Sophie Mazzola on deck.
One, Seva Tassi behind it, making the ball in 2 strikes. The Huskies with 11 sacrifice bunts this season. Over on the Wisconsin side, 34, mark that leads the Big Ten and ranks 5th nationally. One-two. Hit towards short. Hubbard misses her target and it rolls all the way to the wall down the right field line. Alvarez down to third base on the throwing error, and the Huskies have a couple in scoring position.
Good things happen when you hit the ball hard, Jason. Seva Tassi just getting the top half of that ball, but ultimately just hammering it to Hubbard over there at short.
Next up for the Huskies, the center fielder number 25,
So the error
Mazzola.
puts Alvarez at third, Seva Tassi at second, and Sophie Mazzola to the dish. Swings at the first pitch, lines it down the left field line, but foul. Mazzola with good numbers here in her true freshman season, batting .311, slugging .456, trying to add to her tally of 16 RBI. Solos 0-1. Hit to center field. Lucy lining it up as Alvarez tags at third. Here's the throw home. A great snag by Wells, and she applies the tag. A bullet of a throw from Danielle Lucy in center, and it nabs Alvarez at home for out number 2.
This is just a nice job by Wells. The throw taking her up the line, but really her ability to stay on her side of the foul line to avoid that obstruction and hang on to the ball all while making the tag. So we've seen some impressive stat lines from Wells to be able to throw out some runners, but now her ability to hang on to that is a game-changing play.
Fielding that on the short hop, and in a split second applying the tag. Yes, the ball was in the perfect spot to apply that tag, but still a magnificent play from Wells at the dish. And she's all around a phenomenal catcher for Wisconsin. She started 29 of the Badgers' 35 games behind home plate, and she has caught 8 runners stealing, the 3rd most in the Big Ten. She's one of the best backstops in this conference.
So likely probably an argument on obstruction or not, because that is such a fine line over at home, having to give the runner an ability and a side of the plate to enter, but then the catcher, you could argue that she was pursuing the ball. So head coach Heather Tarr and assistant coach Lance Glasso looking to possibly review it, but those umpires chatting right now. Not sure if there was a better angle than what Aaron Peterson had over at home.
And they will take another look at it.
The previous play is under video review.
No, I'm definitely going to use a pencil tomorrow.
So key things on this replay is Wells' footing. A bit of a tough angle there.
as the umpires look at this, does it matter when Wells catches that ball and her collecting it before Alvarez getting to where she is on the line?
Yeah, it's tough. It was a bang-bang play, so the throw was so up the line that there could kind of be an argument made. I could see the argument from both sides. If she was pursuing the ball, you can see her talking to Gabby Sallow about where she was on the field, and the ball took me that way, and I was trying to stay on my side of the line.
You can see a trail in the dirt, which is probably from her foot, skidding across the dirt right in front of the right-handed hitter's batter's box. And the call will stand. Out at home, a double play produced by Lucy and Wells.
So 2 pretty early review calls by both squads working against Washington. So 2 outs. We still have runners in scoring position. So Riley Peschek digs in, looking to really break this thing open and get some momentum going for her Dogs.
Peschek, a sophomore, batting .250 this year. Takes the off-speed pitch for strike 1. And Peschek is a really patient hitter. Brings some power to the plate and above average speed once she's on the base paths. Danielle Lucy, who made half of the outstanding play there on defense between her and Wells. That was really a tag team, and picking up Sallow in a big way. Peschek out on the front foot, 1-2.
Sallow continuing to use that changeup. Peschek's seen 3, and 2 of them have been changed. So her ability to continue to work that change, but what's so successful here tonight for her is her ability to keep that pitch down in the zone.
1-2 off the plate. That changeup's even harder to hit when you have a hard thrower who can toss it 66, 67 miles per hour.
Yeah, so as a hitter, you have to decide, am I going to hunt the hard or am I going to hunt the slow, knowing that you're probably going to get a changeup in your at-bat.
2-2 on the outer edge. Sallow gets a big-time assist from her defense. A double play between Lucy and Wells, and then Sallow says, I'll handle the rest by myself. A strikeout looking to close the second. Still scoreless at Husky Softball Stadium.
Alrighty, fans, if you would please direct your attention to the video board as we find out the winner of tonight's Lucky Seat Contest, brought to you by Washington Lottery. Congratulations to the occupants of Section 3, Row 5, Seat number 5. Stand up and get ready to receive your prize courtesy of Washington Lottery. When you play Washington Lottery, you support ABCs and possibilities.
Series opener in Seattle tonight, Washington and Wisconsin, their first ever Big Ten series. A couple of programs that almost exclusively play on the road in February and March. The Huskies glad to finally be here. Meanwhile, Wisconsin's only played 3 games at home. They'll get the next 10 at their ballpark in Madison.
And they played 3 games at home, and we're into April.
Yeah. Ramuno's first pitch of the third, and off speed to Emily Bojan, called for, or rather misses low for ball 1. And it's funny, Washington in the Pac-12 always thought we're the last team that gets to play at home, because you have the likes of Arizona and Arizona State, the Southern California schools, and even the Northern California ones. But there's a bit of a role reversal in the Big Ten with programs like Minnesota and Wisconsin, even some schools like Illinois that really have to wait it out to play at home.
Yeah, and it's even tough here to play in Seattle early into March with all of the rain that we've seen.
2-0 is flared away. I will say, Wisconsin is not the last team in the country to finally get a home game. They are 4th to last. Yeah, there are a few others out there. North Dakota State, and Maine will all have their first home games this weekend or early next week. Little pop up, and DeBoer will handle it for the first down.
Nice work by Ramuno in the circle, just going at that leadoff hitter. Big emphasis on this Washington defense's ability to get the leadoff off.
Riding the shortstop, number 21, Ellie Hubbard.
Ellie Hubbard digs in. And takes that one outside. And senior shortstops from Wheaton, Illinois, in the Chicago suburbs. Another walk-on who has turned into a magnificent starter for the Badgers.
There's 3 young women on this Badger lineup that were recruited walk-ons and then turned themselves into everyday players.
And Hubbard actually now has 176 career starts, so it didn't take long as a recruited walk-on to lock down a starting role, but she has held on to it, really earned everything she's done at Wisconsin. Leaves that one over the plate, 2-2.
And when we talked with head coach Healy earlier this week, she had said Hubbard has just really grinded it out and worked hard to be the player that she's growing into. So quite the journey and special journey that is here at Wisconsin.
And she's played some of both middle infield spots. This year they have her as a staple at shortstop. Leading the team with 9 sacrifice bunts, 3 sac flies, but there's nothing to sacrifice here. With nobody on and 1 out. And she's rung up a handful of Ks now for Sophia Ramuno.
Beautiful changeup by Ramuno. The 3rd strikeout of the game on that changeup, just freezing this Badger lineup as she works through to Emmy Wells, excuse me.
Wells, the catcher. You had the highlight reel play in the top half, or rather bottom half of the last frame. Snaring a throw from center field to tag out Giselle Alvarez at the plate. Ramuno rides that one inside, 1-1. Eight up, 8 down so far from Ramuno. Who rocks and throws the 1-1. Dials up something extra, 1-2.
You can see the confidence just beaming out of Ramuno as that rise ball just at bat after at bat just continues to work through the zone and out of it, catching these Badger hitters swinging.
Goes upstairs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ramuno had a career high 15 strikeouts against Jackson State in late February. She's racked up 5 already today, but that one sails inside. Clips Wells on the forearm, and the Badgers have their first base runner.
Looking like that rise ball just kind of fell out of the hand of Ramuno running into that Evo shield. You see that a lot with some rise ball pitchers, that sometimes the rise turns into a little bit of a screwball, which we can kind of call the scries, that can run into those right-handed hitters.
So the top of the order gets a chance here in the 3rd. Olivia Bark digs in. Behind it, 0-1. Bark was one of 3 strikeout victims in the 1st. one misses outside. The sophomore was huge in Wisconsin's series against Iowa last weekend. Had 2 hits in each game of the series, went 6 for 10 over the course of the weekend. Throw down to first, and DeBoer knocks it down as Wells dives back in. And that was a big series for Wisconsin last weekend, able to get back on track after they played 4 games in Oklahoma City against Purdue and Michigan. Took just one of those 4, but then they swept through the Hawkeyes.
There's definitely some pride to be had playing at home, so their ability to take both of those wins Friday versus Iowa, just defending your home turf, happy to be home playing in front of your home crowd, and now this week on the road across the country in Seattle.
2-2, driven down the left field line, hanging up in the air where Carroll makes the grab just in front of that 200 sign. So threat averted. Deep fly ball from Bart winds up as out number 3. No score after 2.5 down at Husky Softball Stadium. A look at Heather Tarr, the 21st year head coach of Washington, the winningest coach of any sport in UW history, who's been a part of this program for 26 of its 32 seasons as a player, manager, and assistant coach, and now she's trying to guide them into a new era in the Big Ten.
Former player herself, and just a staff that is no stranger to alumni now turned coach, with Jen Salling on staff, former player and national champion, and then also Courtney Gano on staff.
Tarr played on Washington's first Women's College World Series team. They finished as runners-up in 1996. She'd go back to the Women's College World Series each of the next 2 years, again as a player and then once as an assistant coach, and eventually took the Huskies to their first and only national championship in 2009. Jade Bubke leads off for Washington in the 3rd. The 9-hitter takes a rise ball for a strike.
Bubke, a hitter that brings power, she brings plus speed on the bases, but really she brings consistency for both this lineup and this defense over at second base.
He swings to a pitch up in the zone, 0-2. And she's got great numbers, batting .314 as a freshman. They've just bounced her around the order a little bit. She was the Huskies' leadoff hitter from Valentine's Day through March 8th, but now they like her flipping the order down in the 9 spot. And last week was scratch that. In conference play, I was looking at her numbers, batting .429, slugging .714. So she's been impressive in Big Ten play, despite it being her first collegiate season.
That's definitely someone that you want in the 9-hole. The ability to be able to turn the lineup over to Ava Carroll, Alexis DeBoer, Jaden Glab with some runners on, if Bubke can get on here, is crucial for the momentum here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Salos 0-2. Barely wastes that one, a ball and 2 strikes. Bubke did deliver a crucial hit The Washington series against Oregon 3 weeks ago, a solo homer, which gave the Dogs a 2-0 lead in the series finale, a game they'd go on to win 4-3, and that's really one of the marquee wins on Washington's resume right now.
Yeah, a win against a very talented Oregon team who's been on a tear just this preseason and then this conference play.
Currently ranked number 5 in the nation. Bubke gets a piece, still 2-2.
Nice job there by Bubke, just fighting off anything that's close to the zone. Fighting that one off, looking to get something better that she can drive here. Corner's playing behind the bag with 2 strikes.
Salo adds a strikeout.
For the second
Gets
pitch,
Bubke looking for the first out in the third.
Taking over in right field, Kendra Lewis. Back to the top of the order for the Huskies, the left fielder number 17, Ava Carroll.
Salo now with 3 Ks as the Huskies flip the order back to Ava Carroll. Rips it right up the middle. Third hit of the ball game for the Huskies, and Carroll is aboard with 1 down.
Nice job by Carroll there, taking a pretty plated pitch and just sending it right up the middle early on a pitch that she can drive.
Stepping into the box for the Huskies, the first baseman number 16.
And again, we're in this similar situation as we found ourselves back in the bottom of the first, with Ava Carroll leading off with a single and then Alexis DeBoer later coming to walk.
Let's see how careful Salo is against DeBoer.
Everybody clap your hands.
Carroll with good speed at first, 5 of 6 on her stolen base attempts this season. One-0. Jammed into the netting.
DeBoer, a power bat that reminds head coach Heather Tarr of the power bat of Morgan Flores and Hooch Fagali. So again, no better compliment than to be able to be compared to 2 Husky greats.
She was the D1 Softball National Player of the Week back in early March, when she had 5 homers and 8 RBI in a single weekend. Slugged 1769 during this non-conference tournament out in Idaho. Some unheard of numbers. Two balls and a strike. A little hitch there from DeBoer as she lets the off-speed pitch find the low and outside corner. DeBoer also became the first Husky to record 6 RBI in a single game since Bailey Klingler did it in 2022. She went 4 for 5 with 2 homers in a 17-5 win against Illinois last week. Deep fly ball, right field corner. And Kuffel makes the catch out there for the second out.
DeBoer just missing under that ball tailing down the right field line. You could tell Husky fans wanted it, but just missing too far under. Nice job by Ava Carroll on that play. I'm not sure if the cameras caught that, Jason, but that ball tailing down the line, knowing she probably wasn't going to tag on that, but trying to force a throw, as we've already seen an overthrow from this Wisconsin defense.
And Wisconsin did make a few defensive realignments going into this inning, so that was actually Lewis out there in right who made that grab. Pop up from Glab, shallow left field, and there's Hubbard to bring in the third out. So DeBoer with the deep fly ball. Carroll adds another hit, but the Huskies can't add a run in the third. We still got goose eggs on the scoreboard in Seattle.
Well, all righty then, fans. It is now now time for the shuffle game presented by Angel of the Winds Casino Resort. Let's see if you can follow the ball. Angel of the Winds Casino Resort, the official escape for the dogs. Escape.
Sophia Ramuna has brought some of her best stuff to the circle. 5 strikeouts already today.
Just absolutely dealing. Her ability to get ahead early in the counts, and like we've talked about earlier, she's got multiple out pitches, and so we've seen all 3 of them here today, Jason. We've seen the rise, we've seen the change, and we've seen the curve. We've probably seen more change tonight than we have past series.
Came into this series 4th nationally with a strikeout to walk ratio of 10.1. Top 50 nationally in total strikeouts, and that tally continues to creep upward. She needs just 4 more to hit the century mark on the season.
That's something that pitching coach Brad Kilpatrick has really worked with this staff this year on, throwing strikes and consistently limiting those free passes. So again, we look at Sophia Ramuno's strikeout to walk ratio, and really we just look at the amount of free passes given by all pitchers on staff.
Molly Schlosser digging in to lead off in the top of the 4th. She struck out looking her first time up. And she was a big reason that Wisconsin was able to get there and sweep against Iowa last weekend. In the series opener against the Hawkeyes, she hit a 2-run homer to tie the game in the bottom of the 7th. And Wisconsin went on to win 8-7. Drives this one deep down the right field line, but just barely foul. Wisconsin's already hoping for a review, but that's one of the toughest calls to overturn.
Especially the one that's just the height of that swing, and it's just towering over the foul pole.
And she got all of that thing.
Yeah, nice job by Schlosser just turning on that pitch. The velo, the incoming velo from Ramuno, and her ability to square that thing up, really showing off some power pull side there.
2 balls and a strike. Ramuno has only issued the 1 free pass, a hit by pitch last inning, the only runner that has reached for Wisconsin. 3-1 downstairs, and there's the 2nd free pass.
So a pretty rare sight out of Ramuno there with the walk. We had talked earlier about her ability this year to just limit those free passes and unable to get Schlosser there.
That one's clobbered through the hole on the left side. Blomberg with the first hit of the ball game for the Badgers. And Wisconsin with runners on 1st and 2nd and nobody out in the 4th. So with the Huskies facing the first serious threats of the day from the Badgers, the Dogs will conference in the circle along with first-year pitching coach Brad Kilpatrick. Heather Tarr is going to join the party.
As this all is happening, we've got Some action in the Washington bullpen with Morgan Reimer getting loose, drop ball pitcher from Langley, British Columbia. She'll be joined by what looks like Riley Rabine. Taking a stroll out to the bullpen to get loose. But I would anticipate if we're going to see somebody besides Ramuno, it's going to be Morgan Reimer first.
So Reimer getting loose out there.
Number 7, Kendra Lewis.
As Ramuno retakes the circle against Kendra Lewis. She squares to bunt, pulls back on strike one. We mentioned it earlier, Brooke. Wisconsin loves to sacrifice, leading the Big Ten with 34 sack bunts this year.
We've seen 2 attempts by Washington, but eager to see that from the Badgers.
Lewis gets this one down, and Alvarez whips it over to first base. Bubke's covering to get the out, but both runners advance on the sacrifice.
No better time for a sacrifice bunt here. Top of the 4th, runners in scoring position, tie game.
Re-entering for the Badgers.
Still looking good with her pitch count, just issuing 55 pitches thus far.
So there you see the sack bunt total elevating off the successful one from Lewis, and now Brooke Cuffles at the plate. Huskies have drawn the entire infield in here in a scoreless ball game.
Yeah, it's something you got to do with just a tight ball game like this, where it's probably going to be hard to get some runs across. You got to cut off the runner at third.
Lifted down the right field line, foul. Schlosser at third, Blomberg at second. Schlosser has phenomenal speed. The team leading 12 stolen bases this season. But Ramuno's ahead 0-2. Lifted left field line. Carroll into the corner where she makes the grab. Schlosser tags at third base and trots home. Kuffel delivers the sacrifice fly. Madison is sacrifice city this season, and the Badgers use another to take a 1-0 lead on the road.
That batting was interfielder number 2, Danny Lucy.
Danielle Lucy to the plate. And clobbers that one foul. So a game that at one point we thought was going to be Washington 1-0, erased by a runner leaving second base early, is now Wisconsin 1-0. Lucy tied up, no balls, 2 strikes.
Lucy looking to score her best friend Hillary Blomberg over there at second. 2 Badgers that played all summer in the Northwoods League on the Madison Nightmares, and they'll be joined this summer. They'll be joined this summer by Jordan Felchey, left-handed pitcher, who we have yet to see for this Badger lineup, but she will play in the Northwoods League this summer.
And you know who else played on that Madison Nightmare squad? Tia Durst. Husky was teammates with them out in Madison last summer.
That's what's so special about those leagues. One, you get to continue to develop and get reps under your belt in the summer when you're not playing collegiate softball, but just to make those connections with athletes that you probably wouldn't normally play with.
0-2. And Ramuno adds a 6th strikeout, but Wisconsin is the one to strike in the 4th. 1 run on 1 hit and 2 more sacrifices. A bunt variety, a flyout variety, before Ramuno ends the frame. 1-0 Badgers halfway home in Seattle.
Hey fans, please join UW softball in welcoming tonight's team of the game. Make some noise for North Central Little League. And let's hear it as well for our friends from Seattle Softball Academy. Tonight's team to the game is brought to you by BECU, the official credit union of UW. BECU is proud to support the Husky community. For more information and online resources, visit BECU.org, federally insured by NCUA.
Welcome back to Husky Softball Stadium, and you're getting a look there at a relative of Danielle Lucy. Brett Lucy, her dad, reached out to us to share a fun little Seattle connection that the family has. Danielle's great uncle, Gene Brabender, grew up in Black Earth, Wisconsin, a small town outside Madison. But he was a pitcher for the Seattle Pilots back in 1969. That season, he led the Pilots in innings pitched, strikeouts, and wins. But of course, that turned out to be the only season of Seattle Pilots baseball. After finishing in last place, the franchise went bankrupt in 1970, was purchased and moved to Milwaukee, where they became the Brewers. And Brabender played 1 season with the Brewers before wrapping up his major league career. And meanwhile, Seattle, the city of Seattle, along with King County, wound up suing the American League for breach of contract, which resulted in the Seattle Mariners. So now we have the Brewers and the Mariners and the Lucy family, as well as Gene Brabender, all tied up in a whole lot of baseball and softball fun. So we appreciate Brett reaching out to share that little bit of the Seattle history. There's one more look at Gene, tall right-hander. That one sawed off by Flores, foul. We know that there are big baseball and softball fans across Big Ten country, and part of the exciting process of expansion here is now all those connections go far and wide from coast to coast, and now the fans out in Black Earth and Madison get to share their Seattle stories with the rest of the Big Ten world. One for Flores, fouled away.
And there we see it there with the foul ball by Flores. Her swing has the unique ability to square up some pretty high pitches with how her swing works. We saw her there just slightly missing under with that foul ball, but earlier we saw her being the home run hero versus Cal Poly last week with the midweek game.
Jam shot right at second base, and there's one down. Whitten makes the catch.
Taking over in right field, number 9, Maddie Bellevue. Next up for the Huskies,
action down in that
the third baseman, number 42,
Like Molly Jacobson, fifth-year transfer from Virginia Tech.
Giselle Alvarez digs in and laces it foul down the left field line. Alvarez singled to start the second. Well, what do you think the conversation and the mentality is right now in the Washington dugout as they gear up and try to respond to the one run from Wisconsin?
I think it's a good opportunity to answer, obviously, with Wisconsin scoring first, but continuing to adjust and communicate with each other, as Salo's doing a good job of owning both sides of the plate. If you're Giselle Alvarez, she's working majority of her pitches in on Alvarez's hands. So if I'm Giselle, I'm looking to be on time, turn on a pitch, and send this thing to right center field.
Everybody clap your hands.
And the Huskies, of course, thrilled to have Alvarez back in the lineup after she missed 8 games from March 8th to the 16th. Rejoined the lineup 2 weekends ago against Rutgers and started the last 5 at third base. Smacks that one, but foul.
And these low-scoring games, these low-hit games are just, as an offense, as the defense, and really as a pitcher, you just got to be gritty and dig deep and continue to paint the corners if you're Gabby Salo, and continue to just compete up there at the plate if you're Giselle Alvarez.
Huskies out hitting the Badgers 3-1, but trailing in the run column. Got a piece of the 2-2. A really solid outing so far from Salo. 3 1/3 with the 3 hits against her. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. He's got some help from the defense. Trying to maintain the shutout here in the bottom of the 4th. 2-2. Alvarez does a nice job of sitting back on that one.
Yeah, she was able to foul that one off, but I wouldn't be surprised, Jason, to see back-to-back change with the distance of that foul ball and how on time she was on the in. She's got a ball to work with, so her ability to continue to tunnel this changeup.
Brought some heat there upstairs. Alvarez continues to battle. Heather Tarr said she has seen a lot of overall growth from this offense over the course of the season. And having Alvarez out there as a game changer. 2-2. Full count now.
Yeah, game changer and just some consistency. Alvarez being just one of 4 returners on this Washington lineup. So a lot of fresh faces if you're a Washington softball fan, but a familiar face in Giselle Alvarez.
Pac-12 all-freshman team last year, batted .343, started 24 games as a first year, and she draws a 1-out walk.
And there's the grittiness right there. She continued to foul off pitches, take the painted pitches, the changeup low, the rise ball up, and really work that walk to pass the bat to Charity Siva-Atasi.
And the Huskies add to the walk column. Second they've drawn off of Salo today as Siva-Atasi fouls away the first pitch. And for the season, Salo has only issued 1 walk every 6 innings, basically once per game. Today the Huskies have got the 2 in just over 3 innings, so they are working counts against the graduate right-hander.
We're seeing more fly balls and pop-ups than maybe that you usually see out of Gabby Salo. Typically you see a lot of ground balls induced by her, but tonight we're seeing some strikeouts and more pop-ups. So I think second time through for this Washington order, I'm trying to get on top of the ball more. I'm trying to do something different than I did my last at-bat.
Salo with a little extra time to regroup here. From the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, a Packer fan and a lifelong Badger. Put up some of the craziest numbers you'll ever see from a high school player.
We see now over at first a pitcher out of Maddie Balk being a pinch runner for Giselle Alvarez. The last time I can remember the pitcher being a pinch runner was when Pat Moore a couple years ago would come in and pinch run for the team being a pitcher, she was actually the fastest Husky in that lineup that year.
And the Huskies weren't afraid to use her in that capacity.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Pat Moore, the lefty from Medford, Oregon, in the circle, but we also saw plenty of her on the base paths. Kind of a unique sight. Usually you want to keep your pitchers healthy and safe in the dugout, but here we see Maddie Balk on the base paths.
Balk, a junior from Lancaster, New York, as Seva Tassi puts the bunt down. Solo fields, flips to first. Whitten is covering as the Huskies successfully execute the sacrifice to get Balk in scoring position.
Stepping into the box for the
So
Huskies.
Washington says, hey, Wisconsin, we know that sacrifice thing. We can do it too. But now it's on Sophie Mazzola to drive in the tying run.
Mazzola, last time we saw her fly out to center field, and that's where that play at the plate had originated.
Mazzola, a true freshman from Eureka, Missouri, has bounced around in the Husky order a little bit. Spent some time at leadoff back in February and early March. Lets the 0-1 find the outside corner.
The team just got back from, I would say series versus Illinois, but they were only able to get one game in. But prior to that, Sophie was able to play her sister Mia with Eastern Illinois.
And the Huskies eked out a win there, 3-2 against the Panthers. Stays alive at 0-2.
Pretty special moment for the Mazzola family as both girls were able to join their coach at the plate for the plate meeting. Kind of a rare sight in college softball. Typically just the head coach shows up, but there are some familiar faces in the family.
Their mom, Marta, played softball at Southern Illinois, so a lot of softball players in the family. It would have been really cool to get them all together there in the land of Lincoln. Heather Tarr trying to make the most of these new road trips that Washington has across the Midwest and even to the East Coast sometimes within the Big Ten Conference. 1-2 pitch. Check swing. She did not go. Count even.
Mazzola, someone you want up with 2 outs, hitting .310.
And Aaron Peterson with the correction there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Mazzola swings over a pitch in the dirt. Some nasty stuff from Solo to finish the frame. The Huskies get a runner in scoring position, but she won't go any farther. Solo slams the door. 1-0 Wisconsin in Seattle. Washington with some wholesale turnover going into this season. 16 newcomers, a big mix of transfers and first years, and some new coaches, Brooke.
Yeah, new pitching coach, Brad Kilpatrick, and then Jen Salling joins the crew.
Yeah, and Heather Tarr did tell us earlier this season that although you have some new coaches, you also kind of have continuity with Salling being a Washington alum who had previously served as a grad assistant here on Montlake for a couple of seasons. She knows this program and the culture of this team so well. So they were able to bring in some people who made it feel like there was some continuity and stability here on Montlake.
Absolutely. Some people that know the culture and the traditions with onboarding 16 new women and only 14 returning. That's no small task for a coaching staff to be able to build on, but it allows the program to build on existing traditions and teach the newcomers, but really reset some of the culture and some traditions in a fun, new way.
And Bojan leads off for Wisconsin, and so many of those newcomers, whether they're transfers or first years, are also Pacific Northwest natives and specifically Puget Sound area natives who are all too familiar with Washington softball, and that's a lot of what drew them here to the Huskies.
Yeah, definitely an increase in some local kids. Another local kid being Gabby Toney over at shortstop, replacing Riley Peschek.
Everybody clap your hands.
So really having those hometown kids and a lot of kids that had probably been like these young softballers in the stands who had come to games and waited in line for the autographs and came to camps, and now they get their opportunity to shine in the purple and gold and just continue to inspire this next generation.
Two balls and two strikes here for Bojan. Just barely gets a piece and stays alive.
We see some defensive changes for the Huskies, like we said earlier. Toney over there at short and Addie Craig replacing Sophie Mazzola out in center.
And naturally, Alvarez came back into the game after Maddie Bolt pitch ran for her in the bottom half of the fourth. Good look at Toney there, the first year from Bothell, Washington, as Ramuno dials up an off-speed pitch with the 3-2 and gets lucky number 7 in the K column.
This Badger lineup is forcing Ramuno to work deeper into counts, but gutsy pitch by Ramuno continuing to go to that changeup and freezing these Badger hitters.
There's Ellie Hubbard now, who takes the first pitch outside. Just struck out looking first time up. Balls, no strikes, and in that first inning, maybe 2 innings, Brooke, Ramuno was getting ahead basically every batter. Up 0-1, 0-2 consistently, and now we're seeing taking a little bit longer for her to find the zone in some of these counts.
Yeah, definitely working more from behind, as we see there. 2 balls coming into that count as she threw that strike there, but
it's still a stellar performance overall for Ramuno with only 1 hit against her. 2 ones off the plate.
And part of that is kudos to this Badger lineup of doing a good job of trusting their eyes and knowing what pitches that Ramuno wants to expand the zone on and being stubborn and taking those and just really attacking pitches in that zone.
3-1 is in just above the knees, full count.
And then you flip it over to Ramuno, and you just have to continue to give credit of her of limiting those free passes and just being stubborn with a 3-2 count again.
Induces a pop-up. Alvarez gives it a look. It's in the seats.
In the seats and almost in the bag of popcorn over there.
Would that be your ballpark food of choice?
Maybe one of them. Maybe some candy.
Brat or a hot dog. 3-2. Foul away. That one will go over the seats. That one's probably headed down Walla Walla Road. Down to the baseball game. There's a lot of action here on Montlake today. Baseball, softball, tennis, and a gymnastics NCAA tournament regional. 3-2 off-speed pitch, lifted right center. And Flores comes over and says, I'll handle this one, as the replacement Craig gives way.
Again, nice job by Ramuno in the circle, continuing to work that changeup and staying consistent with that 3-2 count, keeping that changeup in and around the zone and forcing these Badger hitters to swing on it.
Emmy Wells takes the first pitch, and a good job by Flores there to command the field. She's the only Husky that has started every game this season in the same position. She's been in right there, dating all the way back to early February.
Definitely nice as a center fielder like Craig, who's coming into the game, and Flores has done her time out there, and just to have a consistent veteran leader over there gives you the confidence if you're Craig coming into this game.
One. Rides inside, maybe upstairs as well. 2 balls and a strike. Wells wore a pitch like that back in the 3rd inning. The very first base runner the Badgers had tonight. Ramuno set down the first 8 Badgers that she faced. Wells was hit by a pitch, and in the following inning, Schlosser would score after walking to start the frame, coming home after a couple of sacrifices. Count runs full.
A rare changeup up in the zone missed by Ramuno. Typically we see her changeup missing a little bit more glove side, but we see her laughing.
What's the out pitch here? Gets a pop up behind home. It's in the first row. Count stays full. You've mentioned a couple of times today that Ramuno has a bunch of different out pitches to work with. Doesn't necessarily have a go-to. She can throw almost anything she wants in spots like this. So base is empty, 2 down. Badgers with a 1-0 edge here in Seattle. Ramuno and Wells in an all-out battle, and Wells wins it. A 2-out walk.
Husky fans wanted that. You can hear it, you can feel it. They wanted that changeup at the bottom of the zone.
So the Huskies are going to huddle up here, and the Badgers will bring out a pinch runner with Emma King.
Now we're taking first base for Emmy Wells, number 4, Emma King.
So it's Emma tapping out Emmy,
Back to the top of the order for the Badgers.
and they'll try to tack on some insurance here in the 5th. King, a freshman from League City, Texas, near Houston. Often comes in spots like this. Takes off, and Bark fouls away the first pitch.
Possible hit and run on there. King taking off with no doubt. The foul ball.
And King 6 of 9 on her stolen base attempts this year. She goes again, and it's belted right back up the middle, gloved by Craig on 1 bounce. And even though King was stealing, she'll have to stay at second. Still the Badgers with some momentum. The single from Bark, their 2nd hit of the ball game, and there are 2 aboard with 2 down.
The previous
That said, we'll have a review, perhaps to see if King left early. I haven't written anything down yet with my pen, so.
You're catching on.
Yeah. Did you see anything on that pitch, or we probably need a replay on anything of this variety with the runner leaving early? It's near impossible to tell with the blind eye.
Yeah, I didn't see anything with the blind eye, but the confidence that head coach Heather Tarr came with out of the dugout tells me that either herself or someone else was watching the base runners for something like that.
Well, this is King's forte. She's brought in to pinch run and steal, and she's definitely off early.
Good eye by the Washington dugout. And again, we saw the runner leaving early, momentum change for Washington, and now this is a big momentum shift with the runner leaving early being the third out, and will change the lineup over likely.
Peterson shows the fist, so King is out for leaving early, and that's it for Wisconsin in the fifth. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. Huskies regrouping as they bring their bats back to the plate, down 1-0.
All right, Dog fans, we are halfway through the fifth, and you know what that means. It's time for the fifth inning stretch, and take me out to the ball game.
An awesome crowd here at Husky Softball Stadium. A little splash of red from those Badger fans who have traveled west from Madison, but it's always a great showing here at Husky Softball Stadium. And on a particularly good night, the crowd is riled up during the fifth inning stretch.
The crowd with that runner leaving early senses that as a little bit of momentum here heading into the bottom of the fifth, looking to cheer on their Huskies here.
Gabby Toney leads off for Washington, having replaced Riley Petchik at shortstop, getting her first at-bat of the evening. True freshman from Bothell takes upstairs, 2 balls, no strikes. Salo has issued just 3 hits today, a couple of walks. Really solid start for her, but she's behind 3 balls, no strikes.
Everybody clap your hands.
And this is crucial for Washington here. If they can get that leadoff runner on, teams that can get the leadoff runner on have an 80% chance for that leadoff runner to come around to score, which is exactly what you're looking for here in the bottom of the fifth.
And Salo just barely keeps that one in the zone, 3-1.
Still a good opportunity here for Toney to get her swing off on something plated.
Slow roller to short. Hubbard charges, slings it to first, and it's off the glove of Bark. Toney's around first, and she's going to be nailed at second, except time was called first. That ball was out of play. The Huskies catch a massive break.
We've seen the momentum in this game just swaying from one dugout to the other, with runners leaving early and replay reviews and throwing miscues. So really, I think the team that can execute the most on these defensive miscues by the other UW team.
Here's a bunt from Bubke right in front of home plate. Wells whistles it down to first, where Crane is covering. There's been more defensive realignment here. That's Riley Crane, who subbed in at second and was covering first base. The Huskies with their second successful sacrifice bunt of the night. And now Tony is 60 feet from tying the game.
Back to the top of the order for the Huskies.
Just a beautiful textbook sac bunt by Bubke. End at the bat, just dying in front of home plate. Doing exactly what her team needs to turn that lineup over to Ava Carroll with 1 out, runner at third. Sac fly is in play. Sac fly would tie the game here in the bottom of the 5th.
Wisconsin draws the infield in as Carroll takes ball 1. She's 2 for 2 with a couple of singles today.
If I'm this Wisconsin defense, I obviously want to cut the run off, but I have to play pretty neutral with Carroll being a triple threat here at the plate.
Salos 1-0. Hit deep left field. Schlosser backpedaling, and she makes the catch. Tony tags at third and crosses home to tie the ball game. Ava Carroll with the sacrifice fly. It's a near replica of how Wisconsin scored their run in the 4th, and we're knotted at 1 apiece.
Nice job by Carroll there, just doing exactly what the game is asking her there. Sending a ball deep enough in the outfield that the Huskies can score.
So the base is emptied now for Alexis DeBoer. Behind the heater. So Wisconsin in the 4th went walk, single, sac bunt, sac fly. Washington here in the 5th. Error, sac bunt, sac fly. So a little bit different, but both teams using some small ball to cross their individual runs.
Lots of small ball, lots of sacrifice bunts, like you said, sac fly, something that I would anticipate continuing to see as this series progresses over this weekend. Pitching staffs from both sides that don't issue a lot of free passes, so you have to maximize on the opportunities that are given to your offense.
Base runners at a premium, runs at a premium, as that one slips from Salo. One ball, 2 strikes. DeBoer looking for something she can drive. Got under this one. Kuffel giving chase. And she pulls it in right next to the wall in foul territory and finishes the frame. The Huskies draw even though. Carroll's sacrifice fly plates Gabby Tony. And we're knotted at 1s through 5 in Seattle.
Hey fans, join us right back here at Husky Softball Stadium tomorrow at 3 p.m. for Big Bingo Day. Game number 2 of this Big Ten Softball Series. Come early, watch the game, and check off boxes, and be one of the first to turn in a bingo to win some special UW prizes.
Pretty balmy for an early April evening in the Pacific Northwest. We hit 65 degrees this afternoon, dip below 60 now, and It's one of those days it's so clear where you can see the snow blanketing the tippy tops of the Cascades across Lake Washington. And we got one heck of a ball game as we roll into the top of the 6th as the Huskies make a pitching change. Morgan Reimer in to replace Sophia Ramuno.
Reimer, a true freshman from Langley, British Columbia, same hometown as Husky great Danielle Laurie. Reimer is Washington's downball pitcher, which complements the looks of Sophia Ramuno well, who has given the Badgers previously working up with her up with her rise and away with her curve. Reimer's got the most wins on staff with 12. So looking to add another one here tonight. And I like this pitching change. I think it was a good time for the Huskies to make the change, but I like who they made it to, with Ramuno working so much up in the zone with her rise ball and Morgan Reimer's drop ball just continually falling off the table.
And that's Olivia Bark at the plate, facing a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Full numbers there for Reimer in her freshman season out of Langley, British Columbia. 1-1, belted center field. Craig going back, and she makes the grab. So the defensive replacement makes that one look easy for the first down.
It's a good first step out of Craig. Getting a good angle on a well-struck ball.
Now we'll see Molly Schlosser. Badgers starting the frame with Bark at the plate because of the runner who left early. Blomberg will bat next for the Badgers. Schlosser 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout.
Nice snag by Jaden Glab behind the plate.
Even without any runners on.
She's going for it.
Absolutely. You don't just let it fly by.
She's got to protect Aaron Peterson back there.
1-1. Schlosser trying to bunt for a hit, but it's foul.
Good amount of bugs flying in front of the camera there.
Oh, yeah, and props to our Big Ten Plus crew who didn't have to bundle up too much tonight, but apparently dealing with the insects that come our way once the weather warms up a little bit. Two balls, 2 strikes. Reimer in conference play has a team leading 1.8 ERA and a perfect 3-0 record. 8 strikeouts over 12 innings of work. And she fans Schlosser. 2 down in the 6th.
And there's that drop ball that we talked about earlier, just falling off the table. Getting the K for out number 2 for her Huskies, coming in, getting the job done.
Now here's Blomberg. Behind the first pitch, 0-1. Reimer also came in against Oregon in the series finale, a game that Washington would win, and Reimer helped carry them to that victory, throwing 4 2/3 of relief. Gave up 3 earned runs on 6 hits, but those are really good numbers against a Ducks squad that's top 5 in the country, and now Washington's hoping that Reimer can carry them in relief again. 0-2 to Blomberg. Well behind that one, but got a piece.
This is a big at-bat here for Reimer, with Blomberg leading the Badgers in home runs with 7 total on the year. So definitely a hitter that you're having to work pretty hard here painting the corners.
Can go anywhere with this 0-2. And she finds the perfect spot, paints the low and inside corner. Back-to-back strikeouts to close the sixth. A clean sheet for Reimer. And the Huskies will come back to the plate in a tie ball game. Reimer nailing that spot. Still 1-1 in Seattle. Locked in a tie ball game going to the bottom of the sixth, and the Husky dugout trying to break through on offense. Unlike Washington, Wisconsin keeps Gabby Salo out there. And what do you think Jaden Glab and these Husky hitters are thinking on their third time through?
Yeah, I think you got to do something different. If you're Jaden Glab, first time through, popped up to the pitcher. Second time through, popped up to the shortstop. So if I'm Jaden Glab, I'm thinking I got to get the other side of the ball. I got to get my hands above, and I can't get beat a third time under it.
Smacks this one left field. In comes Schlosser, and she makes a diving grab. The left fielder takes a hit away from Glab, and there's one down in the bottom of the sixth.
Yeah, incoming changeup, just not enough incoming velo to send that thing out there. But nonetheless, great diving play defensively by Schlosser out there in left.
Base is empty for Alicia Flores. 0-2 with a strikeout and a line out. And she sends a can of corn to shallow right field, where Crane brings it in. And Crane, a defensive replacement over there at second, junior from Tucson, Arizona, sporting number 99. So a quick 2 outs for Salo in the circle, and now she'll face Giselle Alvarez.
Everybody clap your hands.
We saw the long pulled foul ball by Alvarez. Trying to probably do the same thing, getting a pitch out in front and sending it to right center field.
Not surprising that these two programs that have predicated their success on having great pitching staffs are in the middle of a Friday night pitchers duel with aces in the circle. Salo trying to send us to the seventh, still tied as she misses below the knees.
And this is why you play these rubber matches on Friday night, and just these back and forth momentum, edge of your seat if you're a fan, 1-to-1 ball games in the bottom of the sixth. This is why you play. These are the moments that you put in the extra work, that you take the extra swings off of the tee for moments right here where it matters most.
We were talking before the game about some of those plays that you practice hundreds, thousands of times, and then you have to execute it just once in a game. And this is one of those games where we might see some plays like that. And you talk about the play at the plate with Lucy throwing to Wells to nab Alvarez at the dish to take a run away for Washington. One of those plays that could make all the difference in a low-scoring affair. The 3-2 is hit deep down the line and left, but into the bullpen.
And these are at-bats that you practice as a hitter of, all right, I've got 2 outs. I've got to get on top of something. I can't continue to pop up again. I've got to be able to stay through something up the middle, as we've got a pitching conference by assistant coach Mike Roberts and head coach Yvette Healy. Be curious if it's just a conversation or if it's a pitching realignment.
Interesting with 2 out, bases empty, and a 3-2 count, and perhaps Roberts and Healy just saw a pitch that they thought was a little too dangerous there.
And that's freshman Jordan Felchey over there getting loose for the Badgers, the only left-handed pitcher on staff. Able to provide a little bit different look than the rest of these Wisconsin pitchers from the right-handed side.
Just a freshman, but leading the team in ERA. Now we'll do the 3-2, and the off-speed pitch is a little inside. It clips Alvarez, and the Huskies have a base runner with 2 down.
Gritty nonetheless, doing what you can to find your way over there on first base. Alvarez just wearing that one for her team. At this point in the game, it's late, it's tied. You got to do, by all means necessary, find a way over there. If you got to wear one, you got to wear one. If you got to stay through a pitch that's maybe not your favorite.
Re-entering for the Huskies now batting. Number 14, Charity Seva-Atasi.
Big spot here, and Salo faces off with Charity Seva-Atasi. The 50-year designated player digs in. Good speed with Alvarez at first base, and Seva-Atasi has delivered in big spots like this. She pinch hit in the 6th inning of the series finale against Oregon with the game tied and smacked a single down the line to give the Huskies the lead. Throw down to second, and it's on the money from Wells. Alvarez gets drilled as Hubbard applies the tag, and the Huskies are done in the 6th. Wells with a pair of marvelous defensive plays for Wisconsin tonight. The Badgers get out of the 6th, and we go to the 7th, still tied in Seattle. Eventually, the real UW will stand up here in Seattle. It's the battle for UW. Take a look at the matchup history. Washington owns the all-time series 6-0. The Badgers with a chance, though, to add their first ever victory against the Huskies as we enter the 7th.
Definitely one of the closer games for these two programs meeting here. 1-1, top of the 7th.
So Reimer is still in the circle, her 2nd inning of relief, facing off with Kendra Lewis.
Freshman versus freshman. Freshman in the circle for the Washington Huskies, Morgan Reimer, and freshman Kendra Lewis at the plate for the Wisconsin Badgers.
And 2 of the better freshmen in this conference.
Absolutely. Lewis was named Big Ten Freshman of the Week earlier in March.
And she's leading the Badgers in batting average and slugging percentage. In conference play, hitting .455. Swings over that one, 1-2. By the way, the Huskies have sent Sophie Mazzola back to center field, replacing Addie Craig. Reimer's 1-2. Tipped foul.
And it's pitchers like Reimer is the reason that you wear that Evo shield on your front foot, that drop ball working in and low on your hands. That's one that hurts if you fell off into your foot.
Reimer holding at her hip. Now the 1-2. Paints the outer black. 3 strikeouts for Reimer. She's set down 4 straight.
Loving Reimer's ability to command both sides of the plate, but nonetheless giving credit to Jaden Glab getting around that pitch and making it look good for Aaron Peterson there behind the plate for strike 3.
One down, bases empty for Brooke Kuffel.
And that was a big strikeout there for Reimer, just given the situation. Being able to get that leadoff runner off in the top of the 7th is just crucial in terms of momentum.
Well, for 2 teams that have played small ball all night, in a tie game in the 7th, you'd imagine they'd take that same approach if they got the leadoff batter aboard. 1-0 pitch. Kuffel leaves it outside. The right fielder popped up her first time up, then delivered a sacrifice fly that plated Wisconsin's only run tonight.
Reimer in the circle, writing quite the story for herself as a Husky this year, but she brings quite the impressive pre-college resume, being a member of the Canadian national team and Canadian junior national team, and helping secure a spot in the U18 Women's Softball World Cup this past summer.
Issues a 4-pitch walk here, and Kuffel gets aboard representing the go-ahead run. And everybody's still in their seats here at Husky Softball Stadium on a gorgeous night for softball in the Pacific Northwest. A pinch runner here for Wisconsin, as they'll send Hannah Conger out there. A freshman from Gurnee, Illinois, in the north suburbs of Chicago. And Danny Lucy is at the plate. There goes Conger, the throw down to second. A split second too late. A good ball from Glab, but a better jump from Conger, and now she's in scoring position.
Conger showing off the speed with the on-time lead and just beating the throw there. Good throw by Jaden Glab, but not in time for the speed of Conger. Good opportunity here for Lucy with runners in scoring position, just 1 out.
Grounds to third. Alvarez looks Conger back. Really smart play. A bullet over to first base to get Lucy. And now there are 2 down in the 7th.
Giselle Alvarez over there at third base for the Huskies, showing off a little bit of range, but showing off that veteranness of her, even just as a sophomore, her ability to field that, knowing how hard it was hit at her, and making sure that the runner at second of Conger stayed there and was still able to make the play.
Emily Bojan at the plate, takes the first pitch low and inside, and there was no second guessing. everything was so fluid from Alvarez there. He instantly to look to second base, get Conger to shuffle back, and then make sure you get the out.
That goes a lot to your pre-pitch preparation. Tongue twister there, but her ability to know, okay, if this ball's hit to me, if it's hit hard to me, what do I got to do? If it's hit slow to me, what do I got to do? And so showing off her preparation there pre-pitch.
Bojan is 0 for 2. She's got a 2-0 count here. Reimer runs one inside, and Glab says, I want to have a quick chat. First base unoccupied, but Conger's down there at second with great speed.
Good feel by Jaden Glab of my pitcher's working behind, a little bit uncharacteristic for Morgan Reimer so early in the count. Calling time, breaking up a little bit of the momentum, and that's something that head coach Heather Tarr is most pleased with to date about this team, is the battery and what they've been able to do with Brad Kilpatrick, the first-year pitching coach for the Huskies, and just the relationships with catchers like Jaden Glab.
And Reimer gets one over. 3 balls and a strike.
Everybody clap your hands.
Glab has done a lot of work to develop those relationships with all the different Husky pitchers. Takes into 3-1, and the count runs full. Nice battle back from Reimer.
And part of that, too, of Glab is just giving Reimer the confidence of, hey, your best pitch is going to be her best swing. And so just trusting your stuff here in this pressure-filled moment.
Payoff pitch. Cold strike 3.
We see Reimer fired up with this strikeout looking drop ball on the outer half, just freezing the Badgers, looking to get her team with a walk-off winner here, bottom of the 7th.
A lot of purple and gold littered across Husky Softball Stadium on pins and needles as we enter the bottom of the 7th. A tie ball game on this warm spring evening in the Emerald City. The Huskies will bring 6, 7, and 8 to the plate, with Charity Seva-Atasi leading off against Gabby Salo. Salo starts off the inning with one upstairs. Seva-Atasi actually 0 for 1, reached on an error and then put down a sacrifice bunt. Pops up in the infield. And it's brought in by Conger. Four different Badgers have played second base tonight. It's now Conger's duty over there.
And it looks like we'll see possibly a new hitter here for the Huskies. Kia Durst. Usually we see her behind the plate catching for Stevie Hansen, but tonight we see her as a pinch hitter here, bottom of the 7th. Little bit different look here.
Durst, a sophomore from Sycamore, Illinois, just west of Chicago. Transferred to UW from Lakeland College, JUCO in Central Illinois. Excellent numbers in her first season as a Husky. She's been particularly good in conference play, batting .429, slugging .571. And last week in Illinois, she went 5 for 6 at the plate between the games against Eastern Illinois and Illinois.
I like the option here with Durst, a hitter who likes to put the ball on the ground, hitting a ground ball 53% of the time. So providing a little bit different look with a lot of these Washington hitters getting beat under the ball, popping it up to the infield and the outfield. So if I'm Durst here, I'm trying to hit a line drive up the middle.
Heather Tarr locked in over from the third base coaching box.
Crowd trying to get something going with a little bit of a wave here at Husky Softball Stadium. Spying some rally caps out of the fans, the backwards visors from the dogs in the dugout.
And pitchers' duels aren't always the most exciting for the fans. It can be just as entertaining, but it doesn't get them on their feet as often. So they got to do the wave. 3 balls, 2 strikes. As you see the packed house here in Seattle. Payoff pitch. Grounded towards second. Conger slings it over to first base. 2 away. Well, that revolving door at second base, not an issue. Conger makes a clean play. 2 down, base is empty, and Gabby Toney will get a chance.
Tony's second at-bat of the night. First one resulted in an error on the shortstop on the throw.
And Toney wound up crossing the only Husky run of the night.
And these are moments as a hitter, you know the circumstances that you're up against here, bottom of the 7th, but really trying to
hit hard to short, and Hubbard goes to first. It's dropped, and then Toney beats it. Before Bark was able to pick it up, Toney steps on the bag, and the Huskies catch a break here.
Good job by Salo forcing the ground ball, but something as a defender, those are just costly mistakes late in the game that can't happen. That was a good throw by Hubbard, but as a receiver, you've just got to secure that thing late in the game.
Jade Bubke coming to the plate here as her walk-up song, The Sweet Escape, plays at Husky Softball Stadium. She's hoping that she can give the dogs a sweet escape here. First pitch popped up in the infield, and it's an easy play for Salo, who says, I'll take an escape. She's out of the 7th. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. We're going to play some extras in this series opener. Back in a moment here in Seattle. couple of powerhouse pitching staffs really delivering tonight in Seattle.
We saw the powerhouse out of Ramuno early in the game, and we see Reimer there fired up with a couple of strikeouts there. Doing a great job coming in for her Huskies in a pretty tight ball game. And like we talked about earlier, Jason, these are the moments that you practice for. These are the moments at the end of your hitting session that's game on the line, 2 outs, you're up. These are the pressure-filled moments that don't happen very often in your career, but testing, are you ready? Are you prepared and trusting your confidence? Are you able to lower your heart rate?
And we'll see what Ellie Hubbard can do leading off in the 8th. Hitless in this ball game. Leading off here in extra innings. Kind of unsurprising that we wound up where we are here, Brooke. Washington 3rd in the conference in ERA, Wisconsin 6th. They both put their aces in the circle here in the series opener, and here we are tied 1-1 in the 8th.
And a lot of this extras has, you have to give a tribute and kudos to both pitching staffs. They're just doing a great job of working that changeup, working both sides of the plate, commanding the zone, working ahead early. I mean, this is just textbook pitching stuff that's on showcase tonight in this rubber match.
1-2, a bullet foul.
Got some activity over there in the Washington bullpen. Stevie Hansen, Riley Rabine getting loose.
Another 1-2. And I know I said that both aces started tonight, but the Huskies probably feel like they really have a 3-headed monster between Ramuno, Hansen, and Reimer, and can count on any one of them to get a win on any given night. 2-2 from Reimer. This one's laced to right center field, and it will roll all the way to the wall. Hubbard's around first, and she'll stand up at second. A leadoff double from the Badgers shortstop in the 8th.
This Badger fan section over there on the first base side just fired up. Opportunity here for another sac bunt. I'm sure head coach Healy would love to have a runner on third with 1 out and have another sacrifice opportunity in play for her team that is no stranger to the sacrifice.
The first extra base hit of the ball game. The Huskies almost had one earlier, but it was negated by a runner leaving early. So finally, a 2-bagger. And here's the bunt attempt, but it's popped up. Alvarez brings it in at third. And the sacrifice attempt is squandered on the pop-up from Wells. So Foster, the pinch runner, has to stay at second.
That's not what you want out of that sacrifice bunt, that bat head dropping, popping the bunt up.
But the Badgers do have the top of the order at the plate now with Olivia Bark.
4th time through the lineup. 2nd time through off of Reimer.
Bark 0 for 3 in this game. Big cut, make it 1-1. She has 14 multi-hit games this season, 2nd on the team in batting average. Coming off one of her best series of the season, went 6 for 10 against Iowa last weekend.
Bark a tone setter for this lineup, and so no better person to lead you off here in lead off the top of your lineup in extra innings to set the tone.
And there you see Yvette Healy talking with the pinch runner Foster, as well as Olivia Bark. And two of the longest tenured head coaches that you'll see in a head-to-head matchup here. Healy with 15 years at Wisconsin, Tarr with 21 at Washington. The winningest coaches of their respective programs. 1-1. Called for a strike.
Beauty of a changeup there on that outer half. Something that Washington loves to work that changeup on the outer half, trying to get hitters out in front, grounding out into their defense.
1-2, drops low and inside.
It's these pressure-filled moments, extras, that on both sides of the ball, having to do a good job of using your breath, continuing to lower your heart rate.
Slow roller back to Reimer. Makes the easy play over to first as Foster gallops down to third. 2 down in the 8th.
Now batting the left fielder, number 20, Molly Schlosser.
So Foster on third base as Molly Schlosser comes to the dish. Alvarez in at third base. And Schlosser swings at the first pitch and fouls it off. She's 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts and a walk.
An opportunity here as a senior to lead your team and put your team in a pretty good spot here.
Thinks about bunting for a hit there, but she pulls back. Ball and a strike.
Schlosser pretty successful with runners in scoring position, hitting .292 and hitting .286 with 2 outs.
And she was clutch last weekend against Iowa. 2-run homer to tie the series opener against the Hawkeyes in the bottom of the 7th. Can't check her swing there. 1-2.
Something that we haven't seen out of Reimer much in this game, working up in the zone. We've primarily seen that drop ball spinning down, missing barrels, but there we see that check swing on something up in the zone. Reimer giving a little bit of a different look here.
1-2, foul tick. Schlosser stays alive. And both these teams have played at some nail biters recently. Wisconsin walked off that game against Iowa last Friday. Their wins on Saturday and Sunday were each by 2 runs. Meanwhile, Washington had a 1-run win at Eastern Illinois last week. Another thriller tonight in Seattle. A sharp shot through the middle. Schlosser delivers in the 8th. Wisconsin goes in front. Mackenzie Foster comes home on the RBI single from Molly Schlosser. And the senior comes up in the clutch for the Badgers.
Blomberg looking to continue to pass the bat here with 2 outs, trying to pass the bat to freshman Lewis right behind her.
Schlosser takes off with that pitch, but it's fouled off, so she'll head back with a 1-1 count. That was only the 3rd Wisconsin hit of the night, each side with 3 hits in this ball game. The Badgers have committed 3 errors, the Huskies none. Schlosser with great speed over at first base. This is exactly who they want on the base paths right now. She takes off. The throw from Glab on the money. And Schlosser's out at second.
But Schlosser wants the replay. She thinks her foot was in there. She's confident, and Healy's going with it.
The previous play is under video review.
She's saying that she stuck her foot in there before that tag is slapped down by Tony.
And based on that first look, I would have to agree. Kind of a high tag. It looked like her foot got under the tag. And she's saying exactly what I'm thinking of. Kind of a high tag on the waist. And so as a middle infielder, receiving a throw like that, really what you're trying to do is receive it in frame and just drop it right down on the corner of the base that the runner has to enter in on.
Schlosser 12 of 13 on her stolen base attempts and trying to make it 13 of 14.
Again, call on the play was out, so we're going to need enough evidence here to overturn it. It's close, Jason. It was a high tag, but it's hard to tell with that specific angle.
And Schlosser was also pointing at her left leg when she slid in with her right foot. And I think she was saying that right foot came into the bag, and instead of getting tagged on that right leg, which was extended farther out, it took a little longer for Tony to come down and slap her upper left leg. So if this does get overturned and Schlosser is safe at second, how does that change the approach now for Blomberg at the plate?
I think you're still trying to just trade places with her. You're not trying to do anything special. We haven't seen a whole bunch of hits from either side, but you're just trying to send a ball up the middle and give the speed of Schlosser a chance to come around and score again.
Yeah, you don't have to do too much. I mean, do exactly what Schlosser did and single home another insurance run. The call stands. An excellent throw from Glab, and the tag from Tony just barely in time. So we'll roll into the bottom of the eighth with the Badgers up by 1.
And the Huskies won. Re-entering at shortstop for the Badgers, Ellie Hubbard. Back to the top of the order for the Huskies. So lead off the bottom of the eighth. The left fielder, number 17, Ava Carroll.
Bottom of the eighth in Seattle, and the Washington Huskies bringing the top of the order to the plate, trailing by 1. Ava Carroll fakes a bunt attempt here as Gabby Salo continues into her 8th inning of work. It's been a marvelous start for her. And the Badger offense has re-given her a lead in extra innings. That one smashed through the hole on the left side. Carroll produces a leadoff single to start the bottom of the 8th.
Ava Carroll here doing Ava Carroll things, giving her team a chance here. Nice job staying through that outside pitch and sending it through the 5-6 hole. Hit it pretty hard. Doing a nice job, giving her team the best chance possible with that leadoff runner on here in extras. And nobody better you want up with a runner on. Tight game, Alexis DeBoer in the box. And these Husky fans can feel it.
They've been waiting for some offensive fireworks.
DeBoer been pretty quiet this game with a walk in the first, a fly out to right in the third, and a fly out to right again in the fifth.
DeBoer cracks it through the hole on the left side. Back-to-back base knocks, and the Huskies are really in business. Well, these Husky fans felt like the water was rising and eventually the dam was going to break, and they're feeling it right now in the eighth. 5 hits now for the Dogs tonight.
That was a nice job there by DeBoer. That pitch up in the zone and her saying, look, you got me 2 times, you got me to fly out twice to right, but not again. I'm getting on top of this thing and I'm sending it through the 5-6 hole. Passing the bat over to sophomore Jaden Glab.
So Carroll on second, DeBoer on first. Salo still holding down the circle. And the Badgers being taunted by the video board here at Husky Softball Stadium.
And we'll be joined by a pinch runner for Alexis DeBoer. It is Jane Gardner, Seattle native. We've seen her a little bit over there at third. We've seen her in the outfield, but tonight we're seeing her run the bases as she's the game-winning run over there at first.
Yeah, she's done whatever this Husky coaching staff has asked of her. Had not played infield before, subbing in for Alvarez and starting at third base for a handful of games. Glab takes a pitch up high.
4th time through the lineup and 4th time through that they're seeing Gabby Salo.
Corners are in for Wisconsin, 1-0. Glab wanted to finish the game there, 1-1.
Glab popped up in the first, popped up in the 4th, and flew out in the 6th. This will be the 116th pitch delivered by Gabby Salo.
And the stamina has been really impressive from the Badger starter. We haven't seen a significant drop-off in her game as this game has worn on. Off-speed pitch.
Absolutely. She's done a great job thus far this whole game, but working through a lineup 4 times is no small task, let alone working through Washington's lineup 4 times. Jaden Glab trying to make something happen here with no outs and 2 on.
Hitters count at 3-1. Glab takes the walk, and the bases are loaded.
And Glab will pass the bat to senior Alicia Flores, veteran hitter, transfer from Boise State and Oklahoma, now in the purple and gold for her final year of eligibility. Looking to be the Husky hero once again. The tying run is sitting at third, and the go-ahead run is Jane Gardner over there at second base.
The 6th-year outfielder stands in. First pitch called for a strike.
Everybody clap your hands.
Right side of the infield, playing really deep. Shortstop pinched. Blomberg over at third, playing pretty straight up.
Deep drive, center field. Lucy retreating and settling under it. Makes the catch, throws it, and it gets cut off as Carroll trots home to tie the game. Flores delivers the sac fly, and we're knotted at 2-2.
Nice job by Flores getting under that, sending that deep enough in the outfield to be able to score Ava Carroll. Passing the bat to sophomore Giselle Alvarez. Like we talked about earlier, only one of those 4 returners on this lineup. Another returner sitting over there at second base, Jane Gardner.
Alvarez takes the first pitch off the plate. She's reached every time today. Single walk hit by pitch. Alvarez was also thrown out at home back in the second inning, trying to score on a fly ball to center. And even though Lucy was really deep on that last play, it seemed like you had to hold your breath for a second, given she had already thrown out one runner at home earlier tonight. 2-0 pitch. Fouled away.
Healthy hack on that one, a hack that's trying to do some damage.
Heck of a night for Danielle Lucy, especially on the defensive side.
Assistant coach Mike Roberts trying to call time there, but home plate umpire Aaron Peterson saying, not yet. With that healthy foul ball hack there, I wouldn't be surprised with the changeup here.
Solo's 2-1. Brings some heat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gardner is the runner at second, having replaced Alexis DeBoer. 2-2 pitch. Bounce back to Solo, who gloves it, delivers to first, and gets the much-needed second out as both runners move up a base.
I'm sure Alvarez not super happy with that at-bat, grounding out to the pitcher, but nonetheless doing a good job of moving those base runners over to second and third. Now giving hometown kid Charity Sivaatasi a chance to do it for her dogs. One hometown kid at the plate and one hometown kid over there standing at third base.
Leaves it upstairs. Sivaatasi from Auburn, Washington. It wasn't a walk-off, but she did have a game-winning single against Oregon 3 weeks ago in the series finale. Half swing there on a change-up, 1-1.
Seeing a bit of a timing slap there out of Sivaatasi, where she's showing early. She's not showing bunt, but she's getting her hands around, and then as she's bringing her hands back across the plate, she's trying to stay in rhythm with Salo, trying to stay up the middle with something, working with 2 outs.
Squares to bunt and drops it foul. So the Huskies trying to wreak some havoc here in extra innings.
I like it, trying to do something different, make something happen by all means possible with the speed of Gardner over at third.
Salo ahead, 1-2. We've needed at least 8 innings tonight. Salo hopes there will be 9. 1-2. Foul straight back.
Everybody clap your hands.
Good battle out of these two right now. Loving the fight and the grit out of Salo in the circle, continuing to hammer that outside half of the plate. And we're getting deep into the pitch count here for Salo, with that being the 130th pitch of the night. But adrenaline still is a factor. Certainly here going into extras.
Slow roller left side, long charge for Blomberg, throws across the diamond and gets her. Blomberg playing a deep third base, comes hustling in and just barely nails Seva Atasi to send us to the 9th inning. Uber quick hands at the hot corner from Blomberg. We head to the 9th, locked at 2s.
In the Huskies, half of the 8th, 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left on base. We head to the 9th with our score, the Huskies 2 and the Badgers 2. Ringing to ring at first base for the Huskies, Alexis Gavoy.
Free softball in Seattle tonight. We'll have at least 2 extra innings. The Huskies and Badgers playing one heck of a series opener. And Morgan Reimer will come back to the circle here in the top of the 9th to face off with the 3, 4, and 5 hitters from Wisconsin, starting with Hillary Blomberg. And she saws off the first pitch to Alexis DeBoer, who gobbles it up and steps on the bag for the first out. But if not for Blomberg's play in the bottom half of the 8th, Wisconsin wouldn't even be here in the 9th anymore. So 1 down, and here's Kendra Lewis. She swings over the first pitch.
Lewis with the ground out to the second baseman in the 2nd, the sack in the 4th, and the strikeout looking in the 7th.
It hasn't been her best night, but she has a really lethal bat. And as a first year out of the Quad Cities, conference play hitting .455. And she's also been a force in the circle for the Badgers as a two-way player. Oh, 2. Tag to the left side through the hole. The bats have come alive for both sides in extra innings. Lewis is aboard with 1 down. 3 of the 4 hits for Wisconsin have come in extra innings.
Well struck ball there by Lewis.
How about number 16,
Alvarez had a good jump with the dive, but Lewis just hitting it too hard past her glove.
Here's Hannah Conner. Laces one right at the shortstop, Tony, who then throws out Lewis. Tony doubles off Lewis at first. And this well-hit ball turns into exactly the result the Huskies wanted.
What a play there by Tony. Giving me glimpses of Sis Bates over there. Good feel catching that and throwing it over, using the ground as speed, and can't knock the good scoop there by Alexis DeBoer. The double play doesn't happen there without her securing that ball over at first.
With that, we'll go to the bottom of the ninth. The Huskies another chance to walk it off.
Leading off the bottom of the ninth for the Huskies, their center fielder, number 25.
134 pitches from Gabby Salo tonight. And she's going right back to work in the bottom of the ninth. 7, 8, and 9 hitters from Washington, with Sophie Mazzola leading off. The Husky center fielder is 0 for 2 with a flyout and a strikeout. Tia Durst pinch hit for her in the 7th, but Mazzola's back in now. Change up misses inside, a ball and a strike. Salo has scattered 5 hits. Only one of the 2 runs for Washington has been earned. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks for the graduate right-hander.
Salo just doing a nice job. We've talked about this all night, but just doing a nice job holding down the fort for her Badgers and giving them the best possible chance on offense.
Salo's 2-1. A slap to the left side, foul. And Salo came out of high school a star. Michigan missed softball in the UP. Tossed a dozen perfect games during her high school career.
Wow.
19 no-hitters, and she's just grinded away in Madison to the point where she's now their ace. Her 2-2. Little flare to Blomberg at third. This one's a lot easier than the final out in the bottom of the 8th.
A dozen perfect games. I think you said that a little too casually for what it is. I mean, you hear of pitchers throwing the perfect games, but a dozen. I don't know if my ears have ever heard that out of any pitcher. But that just goes to show how she's been limiting her free passes with the walks her whole career.
Yeah. She must have just ripped her way through every other team in the Upper Peninsula. And Gabby Tony takes strike 1.
Tony had the great defensive play last inning. Sliding, or rock star kind of knee slide on her knees to then throw it over to the first for the double play. Now getting an opportunity here offensively in the bottom of the 9th.
It's been a tremendous showcase for top-level pitching and defense in Seattle, even when the bats have hit it right on the screws. The defense has come out with the upper hand. Two balls and a strike.
Tony doing a nice job of breathing in between pitches, trying to play each pitch individually, It's hard not to ride the highs and the lows of an extra inning game, especially when you have the double play yourself last inning.
I will say sometimes in these extra innings games that wind up going 3 hours or more, you see the crowd dwindle. I don't think I've seen that at all tonight.
If anything, I think they've turned up the energy a little bit.
Oh, 100%.
Especially these little kids down front row. I've seen more pom-poms here in extras than I have all game.
And that one just nips the outer corner. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And Tony reached on an error, no double today. We've only seen 1 extra base hit. And that was for Wisconsin. Swing and a miss. Solo goes back to the changeup and gets the second out in the 9th.
Next up for the Huskies, the second baseman, number 24,
Beautiful changeup, just falls out of the back of the hand, doing a nice job tunneling that off of her curve. So giving a very similar look, throwing her curve and her change to the same exact spot to these Washington hitters.
A chance for Jade Bubke with the bases empty and 2 down. True freshman from the Houston area. Heather Tarr says she does have some sneaky power. And she's looking for something she can drive here. Bubke 0 for 2 in this ball game. A strikeout, a pop out, and a sacrifice bunt. Right down Broadway, 2-1.
Salo now nearing 150 pitches here on the night.
And it's been a casual 150. It just makes it look so seamless. On top of all those no-hitters and perfect games, she lettered in bowling 3 years in high school.
She can do it all.
Got one heck of an arm. And 2-2 fouled into the net.
We're seeing quite the pitching performance tonight and the bowling experience. I'm wondering if she's a pretty good skee ball player at the arcade maybe. Anything underhand seems to be her game.
All right, you get skee ball and I'll take cornhole. 2-2.
That could be your thing too. That's an underhand game. You're gonna have to go with
Horseshoes, we can go all day here. We might have to, the way this game is going. Full count. Payoff pitch. Hit hard through the hole. Bubke extends the frame and brings the top of the order to the plate in the bottom of the 9th.
Jade Bubke turning the lineup over nicely now to Ava Carroll, which works it through 5th time through the lineup off of Gabby Salo. Ava Carroll singled her last time up and then eventually came around to score to tie this game.
And she has half of the Husky hits tonight. 3 singles. Slow roller right side. Congers there, a little handoff to Bark. And we'll have to make a little room in that inning column because it's about to be 2 figures. On to the 10th at Husky Softball Stadium. Well, now the fans are really getting their money's worth. Into the 10th inning we go. Oh, what's been an outstanding showcase for Big Ten softball in Seattle. Morgan Reimer back to the circle for Washington with the 6, 7, and 8 hitters to bat for Wisconsin. 10 total hits in this contest. The Huskies with 6, the Badgers with 4. And more than half of them have come in extra innings.
And we've seen mostly tonight out of Morgan Reimer working that drop ball down in the zone. But her rise ball is something that they've worked to develop a lot here while she's been at Washington. So they are seeing the swing and miss on the up.
And Danielle Lucy gets plunked on the forearm, playing near her great uncle's stomping grounds, the former Seattle Pilot. And Lucy takes it near the wrist, it looks like, and she's going to walk this one off as she represents the go-ahead run.
It looks like they're going to have a conference on whether it hit her wrist or whether it hit the knob of her bat. And they're going to take a further look with some replay review.
So in the meantime, Brad Kilpatrick comes out and conferences with his infield. And maybe the most impressive part, we'll get to that in a moment. First, let's look at the pitch here.
Looks like it got her hand. I mean, her wristband or pitch comm looked like it fell off on the pitch, which indicates that it probably didn't hit the knob, but we'll have a more definite answer here in a second.
So, Brooke, what I was going to say before that replay, we're 3 hours in, we're in the 10th inning, and the PNW broccoli guy still has both arms up in the air in the center field bleachers, waving his florets of broccoli around.
He has got to have the most toned arms in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, we saw him pregame before the cameras were out and rolling. He was doing a little dynamic warm-up, doing a little arm circles. There we see him there with the broccoli.
You know, he tweeted at me in between innings, and I have no clue how he did it because I've never seen him without the broccoli in both hands. So unless tweeting with his nose? But he's got the stamina out there in center field, and our call will stand. A hit by pitch that puts Lucy aboard to start the 10th.
We've talked about the importance of that leadoff runner on, and Wisconsin getting just that here in extras.
There goes Lucy on the first pitch to Bojan, and the throw is on the money again. Bullseye from Glab. One down in the 10th.
Glab saying, try me. Try the run game. Here comes a bullet down there at second to get the go-ahead run. No doubter. What a throw by Jaden Glab over to Gabby Toney.
That was like Ted Lasso in the bar. Just spot on, middle of the bullseye throw.
And she knew it too.
In a huge situation, yeah. And it was like she made just the slightest of adjustments from when she caught Schlosser in the 8th. A throw that was a little bit higher, she got that one down right near the bag.
Kind of a look. You got me once earlier in the game, but not again here in the 10th. And that's what's going to, I think, decide the game tonight. Just who can outlast the opponent competitively, and that's just competitive plays like that.
1-2 count for Bojan. It's a confident take on a ball that was really close, 2-2.
Continue to see some action over there in the Washington bullpen. Stevie Hansen getting loose. Looks like Riley Rabine getting loose as well.
Slow roller. A little tricky on the spin there. Reimer had to flip the glove over to her right foot, which can be tough, but she makes the play and gets that second out.
Yeah, all year we've seen great defensive plays out of Morgan Reimer in the circle. Sometimes that can be overlooked as a pitcher's ability to field the ball in rhythm and make a good throw to first. A lot of times we see some good athletic defensive plays by a pitcher, but then they throw it away. So nice job there by Reimer, staying in rhythm.
Ellie Hubbard takes the first pitch off the plate, and Reimer is also listed as an outfielder. She can play the field as well, so naturally she fields her position quite well.
And there we see Stevie Hansen transfer from Oregon. I'm sure Washington was looking to save her for tomorrow, but we may need to see her tonight.
It's been fascinating to see the approaches these coaching staffs have taken. Wisconsin riding solo all the way through 9 frames. Washington considering moving on to the third arm in their 3-headed monster. So far, it's basically an even split. Ramuno at the first 5 for the Huskies. Gave up 1 run on 1 hit. Had 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. Reimer's gone 4 2/3 with 1 run on 3 hits, 4 Ks, 1 walk. Finds the zone, 3 balls and a strike.
And you'll notice a lot of these balls in play, and some of even these chopped foul balls off of Reimer. Reimer comes in with a super high spin rate, so you're going to see a lot of balls that are foul, that are spinning, that have maybe the ability to spin back into play.
Called strike on the outer edge. Reimer battles back to a full count.
Big out here for Reimer. Big momentum changer.
But she barely misses. And Hubbard claps it up as she runs down to first base. Go ahead run aboard once again for the Badgers. The 9-hitter Emmy Wells getting set to bat. Jaden Glab has rushed over to the dugout for Washington.
We haven't seen Wells swing it much. Issued 2 free passes, a hit by pitch in the 3rd, a walk in the 5th, and then we saw her square round to bunt over in the 8th, but ended up popping it up to Giselle Alvarez.
Swings at the first pitch and hammers it right back up the gut.
Wells doing a nice job there, taking a pretty plated pitch and just sending it right back up the middle. Executing there on that hitter's pitch.
The 4th hit of extra innings for Wisconsin. They've only got 5 in the entire game and shut down basically through the first 7 frames. But now they have the top of the order and Olivia Bark. First pitch on the outer half.
Everybody clap your hands.
Wisconsin has a hit by pitch, a walk, and a single in this frame. As that one is railed down the first base line, but foul. And the Badgers' carousel will be brought to a halt. But for Wisconsin, you have the single, a hit by pitch, and a walk in this frame, and yet there are 2 outs and runners on first and second because of the caught stealing. So the aggressive nature of the base running earlier in the frame ensures that the Badgers don't yet have a lead. If not for that steal attempt, that single from Wells might have brought home Lucy. 0-2 count. Reimer rocks and fires. Swing and a miss. Reimer escapes the jam. And the Huskies get another crack at it in the bottom of the 10th.
Reimer doing a nice job working up in the zone, expanding it. Jaden Glab fired up, and certainly Morgan Reimer putting up a goose egg for her dogs, giving Alexis DeBoer a chance to do it.
Night has fallen in Seattle, but the energy of this crowd has not. Everyone stuck around for inning number 10 between the Badgers and the Huskies in this series opener. Jason Doro here with Brooke Nelson, and tonight it has been Gabby Solo's world, and we've all just been living in it. 9 innings in the circle for Wisconsin, 153 pitches. She's given up only 1 earned run on 6 hits. Alexis DeBoer leads off for Washington. He swings over a changeup, 0-1. Kind of a wry smile from the star freshman. Crushed a ball in her last at-bat for her first hit of the ball game. Sits on that off-speed pitch, but didn't want it. 0-2.
Salo going back-to-back with that change. That changeup is a pitch that she's worked on a whole lot with pitching coach Mike Roberts there, New Zealand native. And she goes 3 times in a row. I mean, if that doesn't scream confidence in my changeup, I don't know what does. You're up 0-2. You've already thrown it twice. You're throwing it a 3rd time, but let alone that, you're throwing it for a 3rd time against the freshman phenom, Alexis DeBoer.
Changes things up finally, and DeBoer's behind the fastball. Closing in on 160 pitches. Another 0-2. That one's bounced home.
Everybody clap your hands.
A showdown between 2 stars here in the 10th. Something will have to give eventually. And DeBoer behind again, and is that all the changeups that she's so used to seeing? It's hard to finally catch up with the rise ball or something with pace.
Yeah, I mean, seeing 4 and 1, I mean, 1 was bounced, but seeing 4 is an unusual kind of sight, and so I'd love to see Alexis DeBoer get something hard more over the plate. Get it a little bit more out in front, staying through it, and really trying to stay through it over there to the pitch clock or the College World Series in left center field. But to your point, it is hard, especially when you have Salo who's working in 66, 67 miles an hour, and then she's flipping that change 12 to 15 miles an hour slower.
2-2, DeBoer sits on it, hits it deep center field. Going back is Lucy, and she makes the grab on the track. Cool, calm, composed out there. Lucy ensures that DeBoer doesn't get extra bases to lead off the 10th.
At the plate for the Huskies, the catcher, number 4.
Certainly a sigh of relief if you're Salo, able to keep DeBoer there in the park.
This won't be a cakewalk in the 10th, though, for Salo. Now she's got Jaden Glab. Glab with the walk her last time up. And the Huskies scored 1 run in that 8th inning to stay alive. Brush back pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. Game reset. Wisconsin scored 1 in the 4th on a sacrifice fly. Huskies did the same in the 5th. Each side crossed a run in the 8th. Here we are in the 10th, still tied.
Salo not one to issue many free passes. And so got to do something different here in the 10th. Looking for a plated pitch. I wouldn't be surprised if head coach Heather Tarr gave Jaden Glab that green light.
3-0. Won't matter. A pitch that wasn't very close, and the Huskies have that winning run aboard in the bottom of the 10th.
Passing the bat to Alicia Flores, who last time up had a sac fly to bring home Ava Carroll to tie this thing up, which ultimately, Jason, led us to where we are right now.
First pitch for Flores. So little you can do with that changeup when Salo locates it like that. Oh, and 1 offering. And Salo jumps ahead 0-2 on pitch number 170.
And as a hitter here, you know you're probably gonna get a changeup at least once, probably twice, and you're at bat if you work it long enough. So if that's something that you're wanting to hit, you're gonna have to turn hard on it because there's not a lot of incoming velo to help you out.
There was some velo on that one. Flores fouls it away, and the 6th year stays alive.
I could be wrong, but I want to say she's swinging a new bat, trying to change something up, maybe.
How long until they start importing the torpedo bats here in Seattle? Have you seen the torpedo bats that the Yankees and some of the MLB teams are using?
Yes.
Skied in the infield. Blomberg comes in and makes the play.
The height of that pop-up just tells us that Flores just missed under that changeup. Again, time after time, seeing that changeup. So if I'm Alvarez stepping in right now, I'm taking a chance on a changeup, knowing I'm going to get it. I've seen her hard all game. I've seen her curves, I've seen her drop, and this time through, working a whole bunch of change.
Well, you know what she's throwing at this point, at least most of the time. There's Glab, still on first base, representing the winning run. A scintillating pitcher's duel tonight in Seattle.
Everybody clap your hands.
Infield playing deep here for Alvarez. Outfield pretty deep too. As that one slipped from Salo. Wells lost it for a second, then retrieves it.
This is a backstop at Husky Softball Stadium that pitchers love pitching to because it's a dark kind of color behind the catcher, so it's a good, consistent eye. It's not a stadium where the fans are low, interfering with your eye level.
Jam shot left side, and it falls. Alvarez produces a single, ripping one off the hands through the hole. The Huskies with 7 hits tonight, and now 2 runners on that winning run in scoring position in the 10th. It wasn't pretty, but it got the job done.
That's kind of all you need late into the game. You just need something to get the job done, get you on, pass the bat, put somebody in scoring position. This is when I would call it gritty over pretty. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
That's a good motto right there. Words to live by. Seva Tassi at the plate. Takes one up high. She's 0 for 3. Had a sacrifice bunt back in the 4th. Defense has adjusted here for Wisconsin. The outfield has taken a handful of steps in from where they were aligned for Alvarez, given they can't let Glab score from second on a single. And there's a better look at it. Infield still pretty deep.
Yeah, to your point, if the ball's hitting the gap regardless, Glab's going to score. So at this point, you got to at least cut the infield single up the middle off at home. So you got to give your outfielders a chance to be able to throw Glab out at the plate or at least contain her over to third. A ball in the gap is going to beat you regardless. But Wisconsin's saying, I'm not going to get beat in front of me throwing this ball home.
Count even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. That one's bounced in. Scooped up by Wells. Count full.
We've seen that. At first I thought that was a changeup miss, but I think that's maybe the 3rd or 4th time we're seeing this, and Wells is kind of giving her a point and a look of reassurance. So I'm really thinking that may be a play of a base runner reading, ball in dirt and going, and then Wells trying to maybe pick him off at the advancing base.
Pitch number 183 is driven deep right field. Seva Tassi drops it in on the warning track and says good night. The Huskies are walk-off winners in the series opener.
What a swing for the hometown kid out of Auburn, Washington. Charity Seva-Tassi, the 5th-year senior transfer from Oregon State. She knew it right off the bat, doing a great job of keeping her posture over the plate, staying through this curveball on the outer half and sending it out to the wall to win it for her Dogs in Game 1 versus Wisconsin.
The Huskies overcome a deficit in the 8th inning. They get the 1 run they need at the start of extras, and then eventually they come through in the clutch. It's Charity Seva-Tassi, who had the game-winning hit against Oregon 3 weeks ago, who comes through to give the Dogs another crucial Big Ten victory. Washington improves to 27-9, 5-2 in Big Ten play, while the Badgers drop to 22-13, 6-5 in conference. Shout out to our full Big Ten Plus crew, as well as to Brooke Nelson. Pleasure working with you tonight, Brooke, and excited to be back at it tomorrow here in Seattle. 3 p.m. first pitch for Game 2 between the Badgers and the Huskies. The Dogs take this one 3-2 in 10 in Seattle.